Have you ever wondered why Allah mentions a number as simple as 19 in the Qur'an? Could a number really hold a message for your heart, your faith, your soul? Today we are not just exploring numbers, we are uncovering a test of patience, reflection, and trust in His perfect wisdom. Have you ever paused to wonder why Allah mentions a number as seemingly simple as 19 in the Quran? It might seem small, almost trivial, yet within it lies a profound reminder of divine order. Numbers in the Quran are not mere coincidences or abstract concepts. They reflect the precision and meticulous design of Allah's creation. When life feels chaotic, when our hearts are restless and our minds are clouded with questions, the mention of this number whispers to us, even in the chaos, there is order and His wisdom is perfect. It calls us to trust, to let go of the illusion that we must understand everything, and to rest in the knowledge that every detail of our existence is meaningful. The number 19 also serves as a gentle test of our awareness. How often do we overlook the signs and reminders placed in our lives? The Quran is full of subtle cues, of lessons hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to notice. This number invites us to pay attention, to reflect on the patterns in our world and in our own hearts. It challenges us to awaken from the distractions that often consume our days and to recognize the divine presence in even the smallest aspects of life. In noticing, we are practicing mindfulness and deepening our spiritual vision. At the same time, the number 19 draws us into reflection. It is not just about arithmetic or symbolism. It is about the exercise of the heart and mind. When we pause to ponder why Allah would mention this number, we engage in an intimate dialogue with our Creator. Reflection nurtures understanding and helps us see beyond the surface of life. It strengthens our connection with Him and reminds us that the journey of faith is as much about contemplating and questioning as it is about believing. Each reflection brings us closer to insight, humility, and awareness. Faith, however, is not always about logic or complete comprehension. The number 19 is a test of trust. It reminds us that sometimes our role is not to understand fully, but to surrender with sincerity. Life often presents mysteries, and our hearts are asked to trust what our minds cannot always explain. The essence of this test is simple yet profound: to cultivate reliance on Allah, to accept that His wisdom surpasses our understanding, and to find peace in the certainty of His knowledge. This is where faith becomes alive. Through trust, even when certainty is out of reach. Finally, the number 19 humbles us. It reminds us that every action, every intention, and even the smallest detail of our lives is known to Allah. Nothing escapes His awareness. In this humility, we find both accountability and comfort. We are reminded that our existence is part of a larger, perfectly orchestrated design, one that surpasses human comprehension. Recognizing this order encourages us to submit with love and gratitude, to release arrogance and restlessness, and to draw closer to our Creator. In every small sign, even in a single number, there is an invitation to trust, reflect, and awaken the heart to the divine presence that surrounds us always. How often do we go through life without noticing the small signs around us? Our days are filled with routines, distractions, and endless tasks, yet the universe is constantly sending us reminders if we only pause to see them. The number 19 is one such subtle invitation, a whisper meant to awaken our hearts to the presence of Allah in the details of our lives. It encourages us to slow down, to look beyond the obvious, and to see the threads of divine wisdom woven through the world around us. These signs are everywhere, yet they require awareness to be recognized. The gentle rhythm of nature, the patterns in the stars, the order in creation, all reflect a meticulous design. The mention of 19 asks us to open our eyes, not just to what is visible, but to what is hidden in plain sight. It asks us to train our hearts to notice, to reflect, and to acknowledge the Creator behind every detail. This is a reminder that faith is not only about belief, but also about perception and attentiveness. By paying attention to these subtle signs, we cultivate mindfulness in our spiritual journey. Each detail becomes a lesson, an opportunity to reconnect with our purpose and with Allah. We learn to find meaning in the ordinary and the everyday, recognizing that nothing is truly insignificant. Even the smallest occurrence, the briefest moment of clarity, can carry a message meant specifically for us, assigned to guide, comfort, or test us. Missing these signs often leaves our hearts restless and our faith stagnant. When we ignore the details, we overlook opportunities for reflection and growth. The number 19, in its simplicity, challenges us to look deeper and remain vigilant. It asks us to be present in our lives, to notice the beauty, the balance, and the wisdom in what might otherwise seem trivial. In this way, awareness itself becomes a form of worship, a way to honor the divine presence in every aspect of creation. Ultimately, the call to awareness is a call to connection. By noticing these signs, we nurture a deeper relationship with Allah. We learn to trust His guidance, to recognize His hand in the unfolding of our lives, and to find reassurance in the subtle messages He leaves for us. The number 19 is not just a number, it is an invitation to awaken, to reflect, and to open our hearts to the constant presence of the Creator in every detail of our existence. When we stop to ponder why a number like 19 is mentioned in the Quran, we are stepping into a deeper level of awareness. Reflection is more than thinking. It is a spiritual exercise that engages the heart as much as the mind. It invites us to pause, to step away from the noise of daily life, and to look inward. In that stillness, we begin to notice patterns, meanings, and connections that are often invisible to the surface of our conscious thoughts. This act of reflection nurtures a sensitivity to the signs of Allah in our lives. By asking ourselves why a detail exists, we train our hearts to seek understanding rather than assume ignorance. Reflection allows us to slow down and recognize the intricacies of divine wisdom in creation, in scripture, and in our own experiences. It teaches us that nothing in life is truly random, and that every occurrence, no matter how small, can hold a lesson or a reminder. Through reflection, we develop a deeper connection with Allah. When we contemplate the Quranic signs, we are engaging in a dialogue with the Creator, seeking insight and guidance. It is in these moments of contemplation that faith becomes more alive, more intimate, and more personal. Reflection opens our hearts to understanding beyond what the eyes can see, beyond what logic can explain, and beyond what the world teaches us. Reflection also transforms how we see ourselves and our circumstances. It encourages patience, humility, and gratitude as we realize that life's details, like the number 19, are part of a larger divine design. By reflecting, we begin to perceive lessons in challenges, reminders in the mundane, and guidance in what initially appears insignificant. It shifts our perspective from seeking only answers to appreciating the wisdom behind questions. Ultimately, reflection is an invitation to grow spiritually. It reminds us that faith is not static, it requires engagement, thought, and awareness. By taking the time to ponder, we allow ourselves to see with both the mind and the heart, to uncover meaning in what might seem ordinary, and to feel the presence of Allah in every detail of our lives. Reflection becomes a bridge between curiosity and understanding, between observation and devotion, and between the human heart and the divine. Faith is not always about logic or complete understanding. There are moments in life when we search for clarity, when our minds demand reasons and explanations for everything that happens, yet the answers remain beyond our reach. The mention of the number 19 in the Quran serves as a subtle reminder that our faith is often tested not through what we can comprehend, but through what we are asked to trust. It asks us to rise above the constant need for certainty and to place our hearts fully in the hands of Allah. Trusting without full understanding is a challenge for every human heart. We are conditioned to seek explanations, to categorize, and to find patterns that make sense to us. Yet, faith requires us to embrace the unknown, to surrender the urge to control, and to accept that Allah's wisdom is greater than what our limited minds can grasp. The number 19 is not merely a mathematical figure. It is a symbol of this higher reality, a quiet call to surrender and to believe in what cannot be fully measured or rationalized. When we allow ourselves to trust without needing complete clarity, our faith deepens. It shifts from being an abstract belief into a living, breathing relationship with the Creator. Each step of trust, each moment of surrender, strengthens our hearts and reinforces our connection with Allah. The number 19 challenges us to move beyond logic and to anchor our certainty in His wisdom rather than our understanding. It reminds us that true faith flourishes in the tension between the unknown and unwavering trust. This process is not always easy, for the human heart longs for certainty and control. Yet, in embracing the test of trust, we discover peace that logic alone cannot provide. We learn to find comfort in surrender, to see guidance in what seems mysterious, and to recognize that the wisdom behind every decree of Allah surpasses our comprehension. The number 19 calls us to a higher level of spiritual maturity, where reliance on Allah becomes our strength, and doubt becomes an opportunity to strengthen our connection with Him. Ultimately, the number 19 reminds us that faith is measured not by what we understand, but by how fully we trust. Life is filled with mysteries, and our hearts are invited to navigate them with patience and reliance on Allah. In this trust, we discover that surrender is not weakness, but a profound form of strength. The number 19, small yet profound, serves as a reminder that certainty in our hearts comes not from logic, but from the unwavering belief that Allah knows best and that our journey is safe in His hands. Every action we take, every thought we harbor, and every intention in our hearts is seen by Allah. Sometimes we feel that our efforts go unnoticed, that our struggles are invisible, or that our sincerity is lost in the noise of the world. The mention of the number 19 in the Quran serves as a reminder that nothing escapes the awareness of our Creator. Even what seems small, hidden, or insignificant carries meaning and is recorded in ways we cannot perceive. This awareness is not meant to create fear, but to inspire mindfulness. When we realize that Allah notices every detail, we begin to act with greater care, sincerity, and purpose. It calls us to examine our hearts, to purify our intentions, and to align our actions with our faith. Every moment becomes an opportunity to seek His pleasure, to live in a way that reflects His guidance, and to be conscious that our lives are observed by one who knows us more intimately than we know ourselves. Recognizing that Allah notices everything also brings comfort. In times of hardship, or when our efforts seem fruitless, we can take solace in knowing that nothing is wasted. Every act of kindness, every prayer offered quietly, and every patient endurance in difficulty is seen, valued, and remembered by Him. The number 19 reminds us that even when the world overlooks us, Allah never does. Our sincerity is never lost, and our struggles are never in vain. This knowledge encourages accountability in our daily lives. It teaches us that our choices matter, that our words have weight, and that our intentions shape our character. By understanding that Allah notices everything, we are reminded to act with integrity, to speak with honesty, and to approach life with a consciousness that transcends mere appearances. True accountability begins not from fear of judgment, but from love, awareness, and reverence for the one who sees all. Ultimately, the reminder of Allah's awareness is a call to humility and reflection. It draws us to examine the depth of our hearts, to recognize the power of intention, and to live consciously in alignment with divine guidance. The number 19 symbolizes the truth that our lives are not random, that every action has significance, and that we are never alone in our journey. In this awareness, we find both responsibility and profound reassurance, knowing that everything we do matters to the one who knows us completely. The mention of the number 19 in the Quran is a profound reminder of the limits of human understanding. No matter how much knowledge we acquire or how deeply we study the vastness of the universe, the intricacies of creation, and the wisdom of Allah remain beyond our full comprehension. This realization calls us to humility, reminding us that our perspective is always partial and that the truth of existence is far greater than what we can perceive. Humility begins when we acknowledge that we are not the center of the universe, that our control over life is limited, and that there are mysteries we may never fully understand. The number 19 encourages us to step back from arrogance and self-importance, to recognize that life is orchestrated by a wisdom far beyond our own. It teaches us to approach both knowledge and experience with reverence, curiosity, and the awareness that our understanding is just a small fragment of a much larger reality. This humility fosters peace in the heart. When we accept that we cannot control everything, that some questions remain unanswered, and that Allah's wisdom surpasses our reasoning, we release the burden of needing to understand it all. We begin to surrender with sincerity, finding comfort in the knowledge that the Creator, who is all-knowing and all-wise, guides every aspect of our lives. The number 19, in its simplicity, becomes a symbol of that trust and surrender. Through humility, our connection with Allah deepens. Recognizing our limitations allows us to rely more fully on Him, to seek His guidance, and to submit to His will with love rather than fear. It reminds us that true strength does not lie in knowing everything, but in trusting the one who knows all. In every challenge, in every unanswered question, and in every moment of uncertainty, humility opens the door to spiritual growth and closeness to the Creator. Ultimately, the number 19 teaches us that the journey of faith is not about mastery or certainty, but about awe, submission, and awareness of our place in the grand design of Allah. Humility allows us to embrace life with gratitude, patience, and devotion, knowing that even the smallest detail is part of His perfect wisdom. In this awareness, we find peace, security, and a profound sense of connection to the one who is beyond all comprehension. So when you see the number 19, pause, reflect. Let it remind you that your faith is a living, breathing journey. A journey where every sign, no matter how small, is an opportunity to trust, to grow, and to draw closer to your Creator.